About 2 months after ending a 4-year relationship, my friends encouraged me to get online and start dating. And I was really hesitant to do this because I thought we were gonna get married, and I just was hanging out in like this pit of sadness and depression and loneliness. And I didn't think we were gonna turn like this sad, nerdy loner into like this online stud. But you know, I got online and we made a profile and we like polished it and we made it good, and like I started messaging people, and through like sheer quantity of messages, I got a date on Friday and I was like, oh, this feels so good. And then like someone else responded to a message and I was like, well, we could do Saturday as well. And so I got a date on Saturday and I was like, oh, this is great. And then someone else messaged me and I was like, Thursday? And so like right off the bat, I had 3 dates in 3 consecutive days, and I just felt so good. Like this was, I'm coming back, and I felt really good. And so, you know, Thursday date, we go and grab drinks, and like I bring her back to my place, and we're lounging on the couch, and she has her legs thrown over my lap, and I say like, oh, your legs are so great. And she's like, yeah, I haven't always been a runner, but like I got into it late, and like, you know, I've worked hard at this. And I wanted to like say something of like, yeah, you look really good, but I didn't want to have it too generic. And so I also wanted it to be a little lighthearted, so I thought of the perfect joke. Well, it's not like you're all skin and bones. And she tore into me. Matt, I work really hard to look this way, and there's a lot of pressure to stay, and comments like yours just make it harder, and I don't appreciate it, and I don't think you're helping. And she started to cry. And I felt awful. And, you know, the date kind of died after that. And she left, and I just like hung out in my apartment, and I felt really bad for making this magnificent woman cry. And I look up, and there's like a piece of art that I bought with my ex-girlfriend of 4 years, and I'm just like, oh, I also lost that. And I just like went to the well of sadness and loneliness, and I like hung out at the very bottom for the rest of the night. Cause I just, you know, I felt really lonely after that. But I got up the next morning, I was like, you know what, date 1 of 3. Like, I'm feeling pretty good, like, you know, eyes forward, like, this will be great. And so Friday, like, we meet at the bar, and we like start this drinking game right off the bat where you guess what's gonna happen at the bar. So you'll be like, I think those people are gonna leave in like the next 10 minutes. And if you're wrong, you take a sip. But if you're right, the other person takes a sip. And this game was really fun because we got to guess about what we were gonna do. And so I was like, I think you're gonna let me kiss you. And she's like, no, not yet, take a sip. And we're having a lot of fun, and we're having so much fun that the couple next to us at the bar joins in, and we're having this like spontaneous double date with strangers, and I'm just like, this is going so well. Who would have thought? And the other couple leaves, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna guess that like you could come home with me. And she takes a sip, and we kind of stumble out of the bar. And we stumble back to my apartment, and we stumble into my bed, and we start making out, and then we start hooking up. And she says, you know, I'm gonna guess that you can go down on me right now. And I'm just like, oh yes, because I love going down on people. And so I just get in there, and and she starts to sigh, and she starts to moan, and then she starts to make this other noise that I recognize from the night before because she has started to cry. And I go, are you all right? And she's like, no, I'm fine. I need a moment. And I'm like, do you want some water? I could go to the other room and get you water. And she's like, yeah, water would be great. Water would be great. And so I go to the other room and I get a glass of water and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I have only known this woman for a few hours. Like, what is going on in her head? Does she want to talk about it? Does she not want to talk about it? Does she want to like hang out? Does she want to continue to hook up? Like, I don't know her well enough to know what she wants right now. And I'm like, follow her lead. I'm gonna go back there, we'll drink our water, and I'll just follow her lead. Whatever she wants. She knows herself better. So I go back and she's sitting on the side of the bed and I sit next to her and I hand her water and we just kind of sip it in silence. And we do that for a bit and then she's like, I'm gonna go. And so she gets dressed and she leaves and I'm in my apartment that I shared with my ex-girlfriend of 4 years and I hang out at that like pit of sadness and loneliness. And I realize for the past 2 nights I've made 2 different wonderful women cry. And like, I'm really gonna be alone for a long time. And I find like a nook on the bottom of that pit that I missed the night before. And I just roll into it and hang out there for the rest of the night, because that's all I feel like doing. But I get up the next morning and I'm like, you know what? It's the 3rd first date and it's coffee and farmer's market. Like this will be better. This will be good. And so I go to the coffee shop and I immediately recognize her and I get really excited because she has like this vibrant red hair and it matches her outfit and she's looking so good. And I just go, hey, it's Matt from online. Like I recognize you from your hair. It looks so vibrant and artificial. And like a train wreck that I can see coming, but there's nothing I can do about it because she goes, excuse me? And I'm like, no, it looks really, really good. And she's like, great, can we not talk about my hair? And I'm like, yeah, no, of course, it's just you must put a lot of work into it. It looks so good. And she goes, you're being mean in a really weird way. And yeah, I dye my hair because I have a lot of gray hairs, and I thought it looked natural, but clearly I'm doing a really bad job at it. So thank you. And then I notice that she like wipes a tear from the corner of her eye. And I have made her cry, and we have not yet ordered coffee. So we order coffee and we hang out at the farmer's market and I'm like, I think I'm gonna go to the farmer's market. And she's like, yeah, you go do that. So I go to the farmer's market alone and then I go back to my apartment alone and I just sit in the apartment that I've shared with my girlfriend for 4 years. And the past 3 days I've made 3 different women cry. And I go down to that pit of sadness and depression and loneliness. And I find the bottom, and then I find the nook, and I roll into that, and then I see a trap door that I had missed the night before. And I open that up, and I just flomp right in there. And I hang out there for a while. And I decide that, I have to climb myself out of this pit. And so, like, I start doing things I really enjoy. I start, like, rock climbing, and I run a half marathon, and I get a CSA share, and I'm cooking a lot. And I, like, start going to movies alone because I love movies. And I'm like, this is awesome. Everyone should go to movies alone. Like, why don't we do that? I mean, really. And as I'm doing this, I go on like a few medium dates, and then I go on like a few great dates, and then I go on like one really great date that like at the end of it, I'm walking home alone and I'm whistling to myself, which is something that I've never done, but I'm just filled with like such hope and joy from meeting this wonderful woman that whistling is the natural reaction. And, for the last several months, we have just filled each other with so much hope and joy and love. And to date, I have yet to make her cry.